Right, I'm making the connections now, and so what I've got my professional crimps. They're ratchet crimps. They ratchet. You put the thing, the crimp in there, and they ratchet, and then they let go. And they're the only things that make a decent crimp. And I want to show you if I can. That's a proper crimp. That's not, it's making very good connection. It's not going to fall off. Okay, so if you want to make decent crimps, now I can never remember where I got these from, but an electrician told me about them. They're not your average sort of cheapo, crimp. These are ratchet. They're on a ratchet. Yeah, you can adjust when you get them. You can adjust them for maximum efficiency, and then when they're fully closed, they'll open again. There's also a release clip there, so you can release them half if you need to. Okay, but if you want to make decent crimps, then you want a decent ratchet crimper. Okay, wiring all done. It may look like a bit of a mess, but at least it's pretty straightforward. So we've got the wires coming up from the pickups. Put them up the frame rail there, and then they go to the two new coils. And basically the red goes to positive, and the black goes to negative, and the green goes to earth. And that's really all your wiring. The only thing to consider, when I say red goes to positive, it does. So each one goes to a different coil, as the blacks do. But with the reds, you also then need power going into one coil, and it needs to go to the other coil as well. So then there's another lead going from this coil to the other coil to give this coil power. So there's on this one, there's the input from the actual ignition. Then there's power going in from the battery, which we'll look at in a minute. And then there's power going from this terminal over to the terminal on this coil. So it looks complicated, but it's not at all really. Then we've got the HT leads, and I've got the old HT leads which I've cut off, and won't be seen. They'll go under the tank, and it'll look like they go up and then probably come down again from it, but they're actually coming from the coils. Then we have to have power from the battery. So that means there has to be a live from the battery with a switch in it, because otherwise the whole system would be live permanently, which might damage the coils, but and it will also flatten the battery. So then we come to start it, and of course it won't start. So I've come up with a cunning plan. I actually bought a switch, and I was going to hide the switch somewhere under the seat or something, but it was always a bit awkward. And so it suddenly struck me. So this is the live feed, and it goes into there's a little fuse, and then it goes from there into the coils. So where do I get my live feed from the battery? I'll tell you where. I get it from my lighting switch on the console. Now, I always ride with my lights on, always. That's just the way I do it. So I suddenly thought, I know. So what I've done is I've wired the live in to the main light switch, so that when I turn the headlight on, I'll also now get power to this wire, which connects to the coils. And then when I turn the lights off, that will effectively turn the ignition off. So I thought that's quite a clever little thing. So I haven't got to have an extra switch. And I always ride with my lights on, so that's not a problem. So turn the lights on, that provides power to the electronic ignition. Turn the lights off, and power's off again. So I don't have to have another switch, and I've tried it and it all works. I've turned it all over and yeah, everything works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the tank and that back on. Hopefully everything will go on okay past the coils. I think it will, and then we'll be just about ready to start the bike up and see we'll see if it will start. Yeah, so fingers crossed. The only thing is I'm still waiting. I've got this clip that holds the end cap on, and it's too short now. Now that we've got like the extension plate on, so I'm just waiting for the new one of these to come, which I'm then going to cut the end off and add to the end of this one to make it long enough to hold the cap on. So because yeah, there's this like extension ring here that wasn't there before, so obviously the clip needs to come out an extra ½ inch to clip on the cap, which will now be ½ inch further out. Okay, time to sort out the clip for the end of the magneto, which was the clip was too short to fit the extended body on the magneto. Now we've fitted the electronic ignition, which sits out ½ inch further. The end cap will be ½ inch further out. So what I've done is I bought a new clip, but it's a completely different fitting than the old one. But what I was able to do was I cut the bottom off the new fitting, and I cut the bottom off the old fitting, because the bottom of the new one was the right length, but the whole fitting is different. So basically I simply it was that long and now it's that long, so I simply cut that end off and replaced it with the end off the new one. So I cut it off, then got my welder and that out, and then I've welded the bottom from the new one onto the clip of the original. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on now, and hopefully it will fit. Hopefully this clip will now be far enough out. It's not the best welding I've ever done, but hey, I'll hopefully see if this is far enough out so the clip holds the cover in without it holding too tight, so that we're able to turn the advance and retard. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. There's the advance and retard. You can see the wires going around. So the cap's on, and the whole cap turns with the advance and retard, but the actual catch to hold it on is, it's not tight. It's just nice and snug to hold the cap on, but allow the whole thing to turn with the advance and retard. So hopefully, that's it, and we should be done. I've just got to put the horn back on. That's what this bracket, and the job's finished. And I'm very, very, very happy with it at the moment.